Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Asking Muso podcast, brought to you by Jim's Cleaning, Bottom South. Very excited for some local talent this evening. I got Mardi Wilson on the other side of the line, and I'll pass over to her, get her to introduce herself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me. So a bit about myself. This is kind of daunting, actually, now that you mention it. So I'm a musician. I'm based in Brisbane, and I write music and I play it as much as I can. And I've been playing guitar since I think around grade 10 or something, and writing songs since I was a little kid, and poetry and stuff like that. And back then it wasn't really a lot of detail to them. It was sort of general, what you would expect from like an 11-year-old, but it's been one of those things. I just can't really shake the love of it, I guess.
Yeah, was that love something that you always had in the house? Like, was that something you grew up with, or did you just sort of find an outlet and you couldn't shake it?
Yeah, pretty much. Like my parents love music, but no one plays an instrument or does anything really like that. Well, actually, that's not true. My mum, she kind of secretly plays guitar, and she'll start whipping it out, and I'm like, what's going on here? And she actually is a really good singer.
Yeah, sometimes that can be the case. I'm sort of the same. Like, mum and dad have always been immersed in it, and dad did production and stuff, but no one played an instrument, and I don't know, I don't think it was ever necessarily introduced to me that was going to be the direction, but, you know, once I found it, I couldn't sort of shake it. When did you sort of start, like, putting yourself out there to, like, play to people, to actually perform?
Well, I think it was when I played a few, like, little things here and there, but I think where I can remember it starting properly, like I did sort of open mic things in the little beachside town of Kingscliff, and then I got a message from someone like saying, oh, you should ask these guys if they'll have you play. They're looking for female vocalists like in the Valley at a venue, and that was like my first kind of gig, and I was so nervous. And yeah, ever since then, I started getting more gigs, and that was when I was 18, so that was a while ago now.
Playing Battle of the Bands gigs with the band in the Valley during a Sunday afternoon, it takes all creatures. But I suppose what for you was live performance the thing that really got you going, or did you just like writing music and sort of telling stories through song, or was it the live performance that really hooked you?
I think I loved the writing part, and then when I started playing live to people, and you know, when people started to listen more, I was like, oh, this is really fun as well. So now it's a combination of the love of both of them, really. Like I can't really pick what I like more. I think it's nice to tuck myself away and be in a quiet zone and just write. And then it's such a contrast to when you go out and play a big gig, and you know, there's people listening and there's people everywhere, and I'm sort of more of a quiet person, like not a quiet person, but I like my alone time to write and stuff. So it's two completely different zones. I like them both. I don't know. I can't decide.
I think it's the contrast, if nothing else. Like, there's something about sitting in a studio environment or something like that and just sort of plugging away for a couple of days and then going, oh, we've worked on something that's super polished and we can't wait to show everyone. But then there's something loose and unexpected and spontaneous about doing a live performance and seeing who knows what might happen sort of thing. And that contrast of going from being a piece of the puzzle to being like the focal point of a room or of an event or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally different. And because you can be so like introspective when you're writing and in the zone, and then you sort of have to get up and work out what you're going to do in front of all these people. And I don't know, for me, I've never really gone at it with much of a plan. It's just like try not to mess it up.
What would you have to say would be your most memorable performance?
Oh God, I had one like pop into my head, but it's not like memorable for a good way, but
Oh no, that's good. Everyone's been hitting me with like really cool, wholesome stories of playing in front of this crowd and everyone was so excited. And I want to have someone bomb, so bomb for me.
It's actually funny. Like I was telling this story, I think it was yesterday, so it was like fresh in my mind. Like most memorable would have to be my album launch show. Like that was insane. But the one that just popped into my head, it was really weird. I played at the Eat Street Markets, and we were like messaging back and forward beforehand, and the guy was like, so we want to have you playing in a cage. Right, so like What kind of what? I just
Sorry, I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means. How literally should I take this?
was that a typo? Like, did you mean stage? No, in a cage. Like, and it was so small. I had like the neck of my guitar. It was like sticking out of the bars on one side, and I was just in this cage. And trying to play, but it was so restrictive. And yeah, a couple of my mates came and were like, that was one of the weirdest things we've ever seen. Like, it just didn't make sense. Nothing against that place, but it was a weird experience.
That is a weird experience. That's not what, like, I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but I can guarantee it wasn't that.
I don't think anyone expects that to happen. I don't think musicians should be in a cage.
No. That's a pretty safe bet. I will circle back though to what you elicited to begin with, the album launch. Tell me about that.
So I released the album, I think it was in May this year, and well, we kind of had two. Like, my family, they wanted to do something like really close to when the album was out, because I just didn't have my stuff together, and I thought that I would, but the official launch wasn't for another few months, and they're like, no, we've got to do something. So we had a friend who's got this warehouse in Wollongabba, and we sort of I did the show there, and just with like all friends and family, and that was just one of the coolest shows I've ever done, because it was like no pressure, just everyone was there having a good time, and everyone was listening, which was kind of daunting. And same with the official launch. Like, that was obviously a bit different, like a ticketed show at Lefties. And yeah, both those shows were just really memorable. Like, this accumulation of 2 years work, all probably more than 2 years actually, just all coming out in these shows. And yeah, it was awesome. I loved those ones,
especially because having that intimate show, like, obviously these are your stories, like that you're putting out, that you've been working on for years, as you said. And then when you got a bunch of people that know everything about you, it's like, wow, you're really intently listening to these stories too. Like, you are really a part of this, and you're focused 100% on me. Oh boy.
It's kind of stressful in a way. And some of the stuff, you're like, I've got my parents here and like all of their mates, and it was a lot of people that I've known since I was a little kid, and I was like, wow, some of these songs, like, you're probably going to get a whole different insight into me as a person, because I write, I can't really write a song that's holding back at all. It's usually just a bit of a tell-all, so, or I can, but it always works out better when you're 100% honest. So I think that was an interesting thing, like seeing some of my aunties and uncles and old family friends reacting to some of the newer stuff. It's always interesting. Like,
authenticity is something that like I really see and sort of latch onto with people, and I've had that's why I've done this, and that's why I've had the people I've had on this, like yourself, because authenticity is you can't fake that. And putting those stories out there, if you are writing about nothing, no, it's obvious. It's super generic if it's generic, but if you have something real to tell, like, as far as depending on the context and the content itself, maybe you can't be fully honest in a spoken word form. You can't just sort of say what you think, but in the music form, like, I've used that to tell stories of things that I probably couldn't say to someone's face or say in a public forum because everyone knows who the characters are. But suddenly we use a few pronouns and a bit more of a melodic hymn to it, and then suddenly I can just tell all the stories. And what does like authenticity in your writing sort of mean to you as a musician?
Yeah, it's like those things that you can't, you want to say at the time, and then you don't, and then you go away and think about it, and then a song comes out of it because it's everything that you wanted to say, or you've got time to think about it. And I'm totally the same. And I think like authenticity to me is, I've always thought, like, not trying to make a song that you think people are going to like to hear or like the sound of, just making what feels good to yourself. And then, if people like it, then that's awesome. But it's a bit of a gamble. Like, you don't know if people are even going to like it if you make a song that you just think everyone's going to like. So for me, it's always just been, why not just do what I think sounds good and hope that other people do as well.
There's always a certain element of accessibility to any sort of genre of music, there's always going to be someone that fancies how it sounds, even if they don't really understand it. Like, I was actually having this exact conversation in the car with Will and Matt after we drove back from Brizzy after a gig the other week, and we were literally discussing, he said, oh, you know Something Never Again, one of our tracks, we had two completely different ideas of what that was about, because there were both two big major events sort of in the world were concurrently happening, and I thought it was one, he wrote it as the other. We went through the lyrics one by one and went, the ambiguity of it means that neither of us are wrong. Like, it lines up for both. And then on the same token, talking about just making songs to please people, the amount of like Living End double A sides and all that they did, and they went, oh, this one's our really big one, and everyone went, don't like that one, we like this one instead. And they went, oh shit, I didn't think we were even going to maybe necessarily put that on, and now apparently that's everyone's favorite. Sometimes it just happens like that, and that's the joy of the creative arts, I guess.
Yeah, and like, you do not know how people are going to react. Like, you might have a song that you're like, oh, this is one that I think everyone's going to vibe, and you know, it's not like they don't like it, but then they'll just pick out a random one which you think, oh, that was a bit of a throwaway, and people are saying like, no, that's my favorite one. So it's it is really odd when that happens. And like you say, when lyrics are so open and you've got people like listening and then putting their own like emotions to it and their own experiences, and it can mean so many things for different people. And I might have written it about one thing, and someone comes at you with this story of how it's helped them through a difficult time, and the scenario is so different, and you just don't expect it to hit people in that way. And I think that's one of the really cool parts is how people can interpret what you're saying and apply it to themselves.
What is your favorite track on the album?
I mean, because I released a few singles before the whole album was released, and the first one was Astronaut, and I really like that one. It's fun, like I enjoy playing it, and I'm definitely into that one just because I like the message and it feels a lot like me. But I also really like Hesitate. I think that turned out differently to how I expected it to, and it's a bit of a breather on the album. It's sort of, there's a lot of these more upbeat songs, and then that's just a really kind of slow ballad type thing, and I didn't know what I expected when I was going in to record it, but it turned out just nice. I enjoyed listening to it for the first time properly recorded. So
was the album like over the period of time, was it sort of like a chronological collection of stories, or was it just sort of bits and bobs as they came together and you just sort of pieced it all together? Or was there some sort of like concurrent theme to the album?
I wish I could say that I had a plan or like some sort of storyline going on, but it was just, I went in and said, these are the songs that I think are the best ones I've written, and we picked out which ones we thought were the best. And then over the time of recording, like I wrote a few more songs and we put them in as they were written. But yeah, there was like no rhyme or reason. It was just going in and trying to, pick out the best songs that I've put down, I guess.
For sure. Like, are you working on something at the moment? Is there anything you're sort of working on at the moment, or just sort of trying to focus on playing shows and sort of getting that out there?
I'm wanting to record another song, like another single. So that's in the works. It's going to be happening, but probably not this year. But that's sort of a bit of a focus at the moment, is just having a follow-up and something that I hope people will like. And yes, just seeing what happens with that. But I am hoping to get some more gigs and just focus on playing and making it through the Christmas season alive.
There's so many things. I think after it gets to about like whatever the middle weekend, like the 15th or so of December, it's like, no, it's Christmas now. Everyone's turned off. Like, you're not going to get anyone to come to a gig. It's impossible to try and book something. Like, we got something on the December 10th, and I feel like the next gig's in January. Like,
you may as well, and then you'll get all these random last minute things, for days that you kind of want to be having fun, like New Year's and other things, and it's always so disjointed. It feels like such a rush at Christmas time. So I do the same thing normally. I just go, I'm just gonna chill and focus on Christmas stuff because I love Christmas.
Yes, and you don't want to burn yourself out over the holiday period, because if you burn yourself out and you're feeling a little bit way at the 20th, you're not going to recover till the 6th of January. Like there's no time for you to have a breather in that 10 days.
Yeah, and my family Christmas is always pretty like wild, so I think if I burnt myself out, I would never hear the end of it.
A bit of a philosophical question for you. Who would you consider to be like dead or alive, and then I'll also change it to local as well, your dream collaboration, if you could?
Because I've made sure my dream collaboration is an achievable one.
I love that. Excellent.
Well, I mean, not achievable. You know what I mean. He's living. He's a living human.
Living. So
Anything living, achievable.
Yeah, Kim Churchill is like my favorite artist, and someone like he's a legend. I'll you know, I met him in 2009 when he was at Bluesfest in the busking comp, and you know, just thought his music was so good, and went to a bunch of gigs after that, and kind of got to know him a bit over the years. And I'll send him an email and say, you know, I've been working on this song, and he'll say what he thinks it needs and help me out with suggestions. Like that's the kind of artist that I want to be. Like he's all about the music and helping artists, and just he spreads it around, and he supports so many people, and I love what he writes about. So I think we could write something cool and collaborate together, because I guess I've sort of been inspired by him over the years. So
There's nothing worse than, like they say, don't meet your heroes and that thing, and you have someone that comes in and just presents just a magnificent persona, and then you say, hey, I've got this thing I'm interested in, or I like what you do here. Could you can I pick your brain on it? And they go, no, chef doesn't give away, the recipe. And you're like, whoa, okay, that was very abrupt. And then they're super intense about, if you want to do your own thing, fan number 147. It's like, oh, I'm literally no one to you. And that's a real wake up call when that happens. And when you have the opposite, it's so wholesome. It's so wholesome to have someone that you can just chat to, or say, oh, I'm going to flick you this song. Awesome. I'd love to hear it. That's super genuine.
There's a lot of people that get lost in that whole mindset when they become quite well known. Like, it would be hard to give everyone the time of day, but yeah, I think that just shows how grounded you are as a person if you can be at that level, but still, be prioritizing the people that look up to you. And I think that's a special thing. And if you lose that as a musician, then it sort of defeats the purpose to me. I think that's what it's all about, is connecting with people. And
I think entertaining people is cool, and that's how you get known. That's how you get to be someone that people recognize the sound of and things like that. But engaging with people, that's the success. The success is the engagement. And obviously there comes a line where you can't be replying to everyone's DMs and stuff. And, I'm sure if you, flicked Ed Sheeran an email, you'd be a few business days to wait. But
Ed Sheeran always replies to my emails.
Oh, geez, that's awkward. He never gets back to me. I must have the wrong email. He must have given me a fake one. That's embarrassing. If you do have someone that is emerging, or someone that you can just see is above you and is thriving, kicking goals, all that stuff, it's so awesome when you can just put out an olive branch. And it does take a lot of confidence to do that. Like, to say, hey, I love what you're doing, or I think what you sound like is cool, or just, hey, would you mind imparting some wisdom maybe? And then to someone to just go, absolutely, rock and roll, I'd love that. That's what it's all about. That's that authenticity thing. That's what the music industry is all about.
Exactly. And like helping each other out. And it's not a competition. It's, it's not like if someone starts listening to my music, they're going to stop listening to your music. It's, people don't, it doesn't work that way. So I think when you promote people that are similar to you and help them out, you're just helping everyone, and including yourself. Like, it's,
having that ability to be known as someone who's approachable and stuff like that, that's only going to be more awesome for you. No one's going to be like, oh, this person is really friendly and they do like to engage with their fans. I'd probably steer clear.
This person is way too friendly and it freaks me out.
Yes, I think that's actually what we felt when we moved to Queensland from Victoria. We were like, okay, no, seriously, guys, why are you guys taking the piss? Like, I've only been to Soul Bar 3 times and you guys know my name. Do I have kick me on the back of my head? Is there something wrong here? Has something popped up, and do I look like a goose? Have I done something silly? But I don't know. I think that's just a cultural thing when you just get amongst people that are like-minded and things. Like, I think we live in such a copyright-heavy, for good reason. A lot of people do take things and, because it's digitally very easy, someone could take this conversation and suddenly cut it all up and make it seem like we said different things. Like, it can happen, but not everything's a threat.
And, it gets to a point where how can you not copy something? I mean, there's been so many songs, like I'm sure that, well, every chord progression now is pretty much a copy of something else somewhere. Like, I can't even remember, someone said the number of songs that get uploaded to Spotify every day, and it was something ridiculous. And I was like, if there's not two people that have thought of a similar combination of words, then that's just crazy. It's got to be, a bit of, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, two people can have a similar idea, and and also it's okay to be inspired by someone, like, without directly like ripping off it lyric for lyric, but like, to take the gist of a song or even just like a bit of a chord progression that you think is cool, chances are it's been used 100 times before. So,
like, I was looking up a song at work the other day, and it starts with a C-A-L, and by the time I got to C-A-L-I, not only did it say I had like 600,000 results, I found a whole playlist called California and stuff, and it's just songs that have California in the title. So it's essentially every single song that the Red Hot Chili Peppers have ever written, because they're all about California. And it's just every song that has about California. It's called West Coast, California Dreaming, California, Californication. It's all just songs. Like, that was a gimmick because it's so hilarious that everyone knows that there's so many songs about that one place. You got to not, but at a local level, if most often the people that really want to love you or think that song was awesome, an astronaut, I don't know what that's about, they're the last people that are going to want to rip you off. They're super team you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, it's no one's intentionally trying to, screw people over. Well, not no one, but I think generally everyone just wants to, make music and do it well and be inspired by people. And, it's kind of like art. I mean, I remember learning about this artwork where someone had like taken a photo of a photo, and they were sort of asking, does this make it like a new photo? Like, is my photo different to that one? And it was this weird concept of like, how do you say, what is that copyright, but it's a whole new photo? So, and you couldn't tell them apart. And same with, artworks where people do perfect replicas of, the Mona Lisa or something like that, but you didn't conceive of it, so I guess it's a different thing. I don't know. I'm going off on an art tangent, but
that's a really good point. That's an interesting sort of angle to take. You're right. Thinking about that answer myself, like, when you see like for like, if you couldn't tell two pictures apart, who's to say that the fact that I took a photo of or whatever, and how is it not different? Well, it physically is not the same, but it visually is the same, or it audibly is the same. But then on the other side, I've always been into Weird Al Yankovic songs, and like, I actually don't know the actual lyrics to American Pie. I only know the Star Wars version because of him, because I like grew up on that. Like, so I only know those lyrics. Then there's a whole nother level of ripping something completely for the purpose of something else.
That was their point, I guess, was to question all of those notions, and it's the same with covers, and I guess people that do parody covers, like, it's different but similar. I mean, it's a whole nother area.
For sure. No, I couldn't agree more. I
don't even know how we got onto that topic, but I love it.
I started with, let's talk about something philosophical, and asked you about who you want to collaborate with, and then you ended up saying about, is a picture if someone else takes it? I'm just like, whoa, my mind's blown.
I know. I shouldn't bring up that. That was from uni days, and it was enough to do my head in.
She's like, I can sleep now. I'm over it. I'm super chill.
This is what keeps me up at night. I just lie there, just
Some people have a ringing in their ears. I just hear, is it a photo or is it not a photo?
Make it end, and then there's just a song playing on repeat in the background too. But no, songs, you can find them on Apple Music and Spotify, and I think literally like anywhere that you listen. You can also like go to my website, which is just mardywilson.com, and it's Mardi like Mardi Gras, Wilson like Wilson.
What's happening for you gig wise, taking into account when this will come out next sort of little while? What have you got going on?
No, I'm playing at the Airlie Beach Festival of Music soon. I did that Passport to Airlie comp, and we'll be doing a couple of sets there, which I'm really looking forward to. And after that, I haven't planned too much. I thought I've been having my van renovated, so I think I might take a bit of time to mosey on back. And like you say, over Christmas, I have no idea, but that's probably the biggest thing that I've got coming up in the near future.
That's the bloody dream. Well, thanks so much for having a chat with me, Mardi. I really appreciate it. It was awesome to start on a realistic tangent and start talking about photos and, you know, art issues.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was good. I love it.
Once again, guys, YouTube is the place we're going to find these. Catch up on everything you've missed for Season 2, Season 1. There's hours and hours of goodness and brilliant local legends. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Well, guys, that was the last episode of the Ask Muso podcast for Season 2. It's been awesome, and it's been invaluable to get to know all these new people interstate, locally. As always, catch up and contribute to the Ask Muso podcast via my YouTube, Instagram. Follow me there. I've still got a bit of baileydrummer merch and Total Radio Silence tees ready to go, posting those ones worldwide. So, as always, guys, until next time, I'll see you later.